From the time I was a kid, I lived on the farm, and farm people have to fix everything for themselves. You didn't find anybody to help you with it. I worked in the fields probably from the time I was 5 years old. All of us kids, and of course we had 10 kids in our family. We all worked on the farm to help out, hoeing beans and helping with the cows and horses and hay and doing the things on the farm that you survive. And all the things you do there, you become pretty much self-sufficient. You grow your crops, you store them for the winter, and you can pretty much survive without having to have a whole lot of other things. There was a part of my family life that wasn't the best in the world. Matter of fact, it was probably close to the worst. But the fact of having that motivated everyone in my family to say, I'm going to try real hard, I'm going to work hard at making sure I succeed. And it was just something instilled in us. I grow tomatoes, beans, green beans, zucchinis, green peppers. Some of the things as a kid I didn't like. Green beans as a kid, we grew acres and acres of green beans, and I never liked them. Now, as I've grown up, I love them. If I were to pay myself for the time, it wouldn't be worth it, because there's a lot of time put into it. What I enjoy out of it most is there is nothing like fresh vegetables from the garden. You can't beat it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who have never tasted fresh vegetables. If they go to a supermarket and buy it, most of the time it may be picked green, and then it ripens in transportation and in the stores, and flavoring is just totally different. I grow them because I like that. And I know it's healthy, to eat vegetables. And again, being fresh, the flavor is so much worth the time I put into it. I'm guessing it's going to make me live to 100. There's an enjoyment for me to do that. I start my plants from seed instead of buying plants already started. I start them in the spring and put my seeds into little pots and start them from there. And then by either mid to late May, put them in the garden, take care of them, and they start growing. And it is just an enjoyment to watch them grow and look nice. I have taken the seeds and whatever juice comes out of that tomato, separated into making stewed tomatoes out of the meaty part of the tomato. The other stuff I've taken and put it in a blender and made tomato juice out of it. So there's not a lot of waste to that. I have never bought and tasted tomato juice that tastes the same as that tomato juice that is made right from the tomato. And then there's a little bit of waste from that I end up putting back into the soil in the garden. So it kind of recycles it. I think partially by recycling and putting a lot of that stuff back into the ground, my garden for 40 years has been able to produce crops that this past year, I had crops that wouldn't quit. I'd go out there and say, when are these going to stop? I'd pick 100 tomatoes one day, and 2 days later I got 100 more. I'd say, where'd they come from? I mean, this last year, they just kept growing and growing. Yeah, I would take the same thing with fish, fillet it, and then put the rest of that back into the garden. I could probably have my garbage can and only put stuff in it once a month and not fill a garbage can, where I see people in my neighborhood, every week their garbage cans are running over. I said, what are these people throwing away? I don't like to waste a lot. And naturally, that is very good for our environment. The less you can put in the garbage, the less there is to fill our world with waste that is not good for us. If I take a sofa's got metal in it. So rather than throwing it in the garbage, I have taken those parts of the metal on it, used it in repairing lawnmowers, tractors, stuff that something goes wrong and I got to make new parts for it. I make new parts for it and basically recycle a lot of that stuff. From the grocery store every week, I recycle those bags by putting trash in it, I have not bought trash bags in 10 years. You don't need to buy more to throw in the trash, right? Some socks gets holes in them. I use them for cleaning out in my shop, and they don't get thrown out until they're 10 years old, so that's not a lot of waste that goes out. The financial world does not like me because I don't buy a lot of things if I don't need it. What makes our world go is people making new things, selling new things, and a lot of old things get trashed. If I need to have it, I will buy it. You save the things you have and make them work for you. I just never had that feeling of saying, I got to have something more to show off. And that was a part of a way of life for me that fit right in with my fixing things and recycling things, and that was very enjoyable for me.